become the fastest-growing religion in the empire. Its growth had been slow to begin with. In AD 100, there were perhaps as few as 10,000 Christians. By AD 250, there were around 1 million. Then growth surged. By AD 300, over 10% of the entire population of the Roman Empire was Christian. By AD 350, this had risen to over 50%, with 30 to 40 million Christians. So what caused this? This book tries to answer that question. But it is not a theological book about Christianity. It is about a revolution in the ancient world. This began as a crisis. Long before the fall of the Roman Empire in the 5th century, a terrible ordeal gripped Rome for 50 years, between AD 235 and 285. From the west came wave after wave of barbarian invaders. From the east came the mailed horsemen of Sasanian Persia. And from within, civil war, mutinous armies, plague, and economic decline sapped the empire's strength. It was the fall before the fall. Yet Rome survived. The emperors Aurelian, Diocletian, and Constantine breathed life into a revolutionary new Rome. Politically, economically, and culturally, it was very different from the ancient Rome that had received a mortal blow. The rise of Christianity was a product of these troubled times, but it was just one of many radical changes. It is also a time that has been largely forgotten. Historians have neglected it because of its obscurity. Very few records have survived. Due to this, it has become a lost age. Yet it was arguably the most important century in the entire history of Rome. Of the few historians who have written about it, some see it as the end of the ancient world, while others simply call it the crisis of the 3rd century. This book suggests a new name: the Roman Revolution. Part 1. Republic. 1. City-state. To understand the crisis that gripped Rome in the 3rd century, we need to know what it was before. So let us start at the beginning with a question that historians have long debated. Just how did a small city-state rise from total obscurity to become one of the greatest empires in history? Rome began as a small settlement perched upon a few hills surrounding the river Tiber, about 15 miles from the sea. Its true origins will never be known for sure. Roman writers, such as Pliny and Virgil, writing centuries afterwards, embellished entirely fictional legends born long before they wrote them down. These appealed to the ancient Romans as much as to us today. The most famous of all was that of the twin brothers Romulus and Remus, who founded the city, having been abandoned at birth and suckled by a she-wolf. Greek writers added to this by linking the twins to the legend of Aeneas, a Trojan refugee who fled to Italy and married Lavinia, the daughter of the king of Latium, where Rome would later be founded, thereby romantically suggesting that Romans had Trojan blood in their veins. But what really happened? Archaeological evidence points to a native Italian settlement on the hills of ancient Rome in about 1000 BC. Roman historians traditionally dated it to 753 BC, with Rome becoming the chief city of the Latium region by around 500 BC. Surrounded by other Italian tribes, principally the Etruscans to the north and the Samnites to the east, Rome gradually developed a political leadership position in central Italy, with Etruscan and Samnite towns owing it allegiance. How did the Romans achieve this? This is probably the most enigmatic question in the whole of Roman history, for there is simply no convincing surviving evidence from this period, either literary or archaeological, on which to base any verifiable hypothesis. The expected answer would be by force of arms. This was certainly the interpretation developed by later Roman writers such as Virgil and Livy. They were inclined to praise their early ancestors for possessing a military bravado that heroically overcame their rivals. But there is little evidence to support such a